Back on the record, the time is approximately 4:41 p.m.
Welcome back, Mr. Lopez. Before you, you should have Exhibit 289, which is a screenshot of a web capture. Does this appear to you to be a screen capture from fashionfun.com?
Objection form. I don't know. It doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like it was Fashion Fun. It could be taken from the initial event.
Pardon, you're breaking up a little bit.
I'm sorry.
You ask your question.
I
You want to reread the question?
Sure. Before. Does this appear to you to be a screen capture from fashionfun.com?
I can't determine that. It's just all it is a media player.
Does Fashion Fun have a media player?
No, not that I'm aware of.
And is it safe to assume you've been to Fashion Fun and you've seen how it looks and how the different components of the website work?
I have not logged in to Fashion Fun lately to say that I know the functionality of Fashion Fun.
Okay, you can put that aside. I want to turn now to the retailer map. If I use that term, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
And that would be a map on LuLaRoe's website, which displays some retailers depending on what geography is selected.
Displays some what?
Some retailers, IFRs, depending on which geography area is selected. Is that a fair characteristic?
The retailer map was introduced mainly to allow consumers to locate retailers within their residence.
Okay, and when was it introduced?
I'm going to say probably late 2017, early 2018 is when my team got involved on the development.
Okay, well, when your team got involved, was there an already existing retailer map?
It was not that I'm aware of. The only map that we had, I'd say, was just it was very clunky. It was just a map with dots. It was just like a Google map. Nothing sophisticated where you could look up an actual retailer.
Okay, do you know how long that earlier version of the map was available?
No, I do not.
Was it there when you started in 2016?
Not that I'm aware of, because it was on the main site, and I was only supporting the Audrey system at the moment that I came on board.
So does that mean you don't think it existed, or you just don't know either way?
I don't know either way.
And this earlier map, was it just a map of the entire US, or could a user zoom in on a smaller geography?
My understanding, it was just the entire US. You couldn't zone in to a specific city or state.
Do you know if that earlier version is archived anywhere?
No, not that I'm aware of.
How would you go about, if you wanted to see what it looked like at that time, how would you go about trying to figure that out?
I wouldn't know where to start, because it was managed through the marketing site.
would you start with marketing?
If they have it, they had some type of screenshot.
And do you know if they hired a vendor to create or maintain that site?
I would need clarity. Is there a specific vendor?
I'm asking if you know if they hired a vendor to create that site.
Not that I'm aware of.
Do you know if there was a vendor that maintained that site for them?
Not that I'm aware of.
And you mentioned your team got involved in late 2017, maybe early 2018, to change the retailer map. Can you describe what you did?
Yeah, my team involvement was just simply is to generate a path to purchase for consumers. It's basically generating a map, which is through Salesforce, and it's a simple iframe. Basically, what that means, it's displayed inside a main website, and all it is that the retailer had to opt in to share their city, state, and to make themselves searchable for consumers to search for a retailer near their residence to shop to purchase product from a retailer within their residence.
Okay, and for the earlier version, prior to your involvement, was it also opt-in?
The earlier version, not that I'm aware of.
Do you know if LuLaRoe ever worked with a company called Z Maps? That's ZEEMAPS, to work on the retailer map?
It sounds like the vendors. I can't recall the vendor name, but to me that sounds like a service. It wasn't a development company. It was just a service that had a map.
Okay. What about the term batch geo?
Dash.
Batch, BATCH,
Yeah.
geo, GEO, no space, all one word.
That doesn't ring a bell to me. Sorry.
Okay. We're going to turn to another document. This one is going to be marked as 290.
You said.
Oh, well, that's just the exhibit number. Oh, he's got to give us the date number.
Yeah. The Bates number is LLR-WA 000-89875.
So that's exhibit H.
Yes. Exhibit H, which is now Exhibit 290.
Okay.
Let me share it just so we're all making sure we're seeing the same thing. Okay, this is an email. You're not on it, but it's an email exchange between LuLaRoe and a company, I believe that's called Rock Tech, ROK Tech, TECH. Does the name Rock Tech ring any bells to you?
Yes,
Who was Rock Tech?
that was a vendor that was pitching to marketing to do the map, and we never executed the agreement.
Oh, so so the statement of work that's attached to this was never actually entered into?
Nope. We did not move forward with this vendor.
Did you move forward with a different vendor?
No, we brought it in-house. So the map today is managed through Salesforce with my dev team.
Okay, so when changes are made to, if you want to make a change to the retailer map, how would you do that through Salesforce?
Objection form.
I need clarity on what you mean by change.
Hold on for 1 second. So if I wanted to change the way the retailer map looked, could you make those changes through Salesforce?
Objection form.
Again, it depends on what the request is. I'd say the intent of the retailer map, from my point of view, was a consumer path to purchase. It was basically for consumers to be able to shop our product from a retailer.
Right, and so, but the retailer map has a certain look. So you said earlier that the earlier map wouldn't allow you to zoom in to a small location. Say I wanted to undo that feature and I actually just wanted the map to be of the entire US. Would you be able to make that change in Salesforce?
If that was the request, I'd say yes, but we will have to have a meeting. You know, it will be with a stakeholder or product owner from the department, and mainly this will come from marketing on the request, and they will work closely with my project manager or from the dev team to say, okay, here are the changes, and then we can do a test environment and then test it and promote it if that's what the request is.
And in that test environment, what does testing it mean?
It's just you're developing in a test environment, a sandbox environment. So you're not, it's basically not publicly available.
Right, and so what would your project manager on the IT side have to do to create a test environment?
Again, it depends on the request. It'll be a requirement list where we could probably create some form of scope of work, like a ticket that we use within our development environment. If there is a request and we have some type of some type of case or ticket, then we can at least review what the request was and what changes were being asked, and then we apply it once we have an approval.
Okay, so I have that some of the things necessary would be to test a potential change would be a requirement list, a scope of work, and a ticket number. Anything else required?
That's pretty much it, assuming that we follow those steps.
And, well, you just said you'd have to test it, so wouldn't you have to follow these steps?
Yes. I mean, again, I'm going based on the scenario.
Yeah, right. Okay, and so when you, in late 2017, when you took it in-house and updated the retailer map, was it tested?
My recollection, yes. I mean, I wasn't the developer, so if it was my team working with marketing, my assumption was it was tested based on the request, and then became promoted to the public site.
And so there would have been a requirement list at that time.
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, again, I wasn't in the meeting.
But if they followed the normal testing procedures, there should be a requirement list.
Objection form.
Again, depending on the request, I can't say that I can go back and look up this work order for the map.
Okay. So you're saying that this update to the retailer map was tested, but maybe there was no requirement list. You just don't know either way.
Again, what happens occasionally from marketing is they'll give us a request. In some cases, it's an instant change that has to happen today or due yesterday, and we just have to execute it. And there could be times where we may not follow all the steps that I had stated earlier.
What form would that request take from marketing?
There's no form. It's just an internal process that my dev team follows, where today we introduce a simple workflow where we create, as we have a meeting with a stakeholder or product owner, we create a ticket in our own platform. But we didn't have that in 2017 or 2018.
Have you looked for any of these items or requirement list, scope of work, or a ticket number for these changes that were made in 2017?
No, because I don't think they exist.
Because you don't think what?
Exist.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Would there be any document that would exist that would reflect a request from marketing to change this retailer map?
Objection form.
I'd say the only thing that you'll probably get is from emails.
And who would be on those emails?
Objection form.
Just marketing or whoever, and probably my team members.
Can you list off your team members from 2017?
I'm sorry?
Can you list the people who are on your team in 2017?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I could. I have a couple employees. It depends on who actually assigned the order or the work order.
I'm asking who was in your department in 2017?
In which area?
Whoever would have handled the request from marketing to deal with the retailer map.
That could have been my project manager, Andy D'Amato. I have a couple developers that probably support the map today, and that could be Ken Barlow or Myrna Ramirez.
Okay, let's take a step back for a second. So you said project manager, and then you said Andy D'Amato. Is Andy
Yes.
D'Amato the project manager?
Yes,
Okay.
he's my project manager for my development team.
And is that spelled D-A-M-A-T-O?
Yes. It's D''AMATO.
And he's still with the company today?
Yes, he is.
And then you listed off 2 developers, Ken Barlow. Is that Barlow? And is Mr. Barlow still with?
I'm sorry, I didn't get any answer after you spelled Mr. Barlow's name.
Did I spell that correctly?
Yes.
And is Mr. Barlow still with LuLaRoe?
He's no longer a permanent employee.
He's what?
He's not a permanent employee.
Thank you.
Does he still have a LuLaRoe email address?
I have him as a 1099. So yes, he does have an email address.
Okay. And then the other developer you mentioned was Lerna. Is that L?
No, I'm sorry. It's Myrna, Myrna. N is in Nancy, and then A is in Apple. And then
You're talking over the top of each other quite a bit here.
Sorry about that. I don't think we caught Myrna's last name.
Remember to hesitate that unnatural beat so that doesn't happen. Think of the question and
Ramirez is the last name.
So can you explain again, sorry, I'll get my notes for a second. So you said that the map today is managed through Salesforce with your development team. Was that the case since your team took it over in 2017?
Yes, it's through the Salesforce platform.
And so does that mean that the retailer data that underlies the map is contained in Salesforce?
Yes, but it's still opt-in by the retailer has to opt in order to make themselves visible on the app.
And does, go ahead.
And again, today's map isn't a physical map. All it is just the consumer can type a zip code and it'll just display retailers within that zip code, that radius.
And what is the system that actually generates what is seen on the website?
I need clarity. What do you mean by that?
Well, does Salesforce, is Salesforce that's displaying the map on the website?
objection misstates prior testimony and form.
It's not. I mean, again, Salesforce is it's the platform. It's coding within Salesforce. I'm sure there's another function that displays a map, but I don't know all the components that are tied to display the map. But the coding is within the Salesforce platform.
Who would have been the developer that coded the map?
That would be my team.
So collectively, Andy D'Amato, Ken Barlow, and Myrna Ramirez would have created the code in Salesforce?
Of the current map, yes.
And other than the code and the program Salesforce and the data the retailer data that underlies the map, is anything else necessary for the map to display on the LuLaRoe's website?
Now, it's just the retailer has to opt in from their back office. And if they opt in their back office that they want to be displayed, then they become visible. And what we will display from the map is the retailer's information not their home address, just who they are and how they can be reached, meaning via email, a phone number. If they have their website available, they can click on the URL of the retailer's name to display their homepage.
And so my question again is, other than Salesforce, the data, and the code, is there anything else that the website uses in generating the map and displaying it?
No, not that I'm aware of.
When you change code in Salesforce, do you archive whatever you're changing?
Good question. I don't know. Like it could be. It depends on storage requirements.
And what requirements?
Storage requirements.
Is one of the reasons why you test new features so you don't break prior code?
Yeah, in the sandbox environment, yes.
So if you are testing a new feature, the tests go well, would that code then go back and completely overwrite the original code?
Yeah, if we promote the code to production, yes, you're overwriting.
So today, if you're going to test something out in the sandbox, you mentioned some of the requirements would be a requirement list, a scope of work, and a ticket number. Are those specific forms that, say, marketing would have to provide to you?
No, we try to keep it simple where the project manager will meet with the department head or the stakeholder or the product owner and basically generate the work order in our development platform, and then we assign it to a developer in our upcoming sprint.
Upcoming
Sprint.
spring?
Sprint. SPRINT.
Ah, sorry.
Bill, if you have exhibits 49 and 172 handy from this morning, those are the two I'd like to show Mr. Lopez next.
49 and 170. Was 49 Mark's?
49 was, yes, exactly, Mark Stidham's.
Do you have a base number? You have marks in there?
Oh,
43. I think 49 is the big one.
And it's also, there's one over there. It's, if you picked up hers, she had it on set.
She is right there.
Yeah. Here, it's this. You won't have it in there. The income disclosure statement.
We're gonna give him that one for now.
Yeah, you can start. You can go ahead and start. We're looking for a copy for me, but I know it.
Great. So my question is pretty simple. Do you recognize either of these documents, Mr. Lopez?
I don't.
Okay, so if you look at Exhibit 49, you'll see in the bottom, it kind of displays the URL that this was printed from as being from LuLaRoe.com. Does that indicate to you that this was available on LuLaRoe's website?
Objection form, foundation.
Yes, that's the main website. LuLaRoe.com is the main website.
Do you know if Exhibit 172 was ever available on LuLaRoe's website?
Exhibit 172.
Do you have 170? I'll try and find it for you here. Do you have a copy of series tab? This one, Bill. No,
And
thank
is
you.
it not a, no, or
It's a Knoll exhibit 172. But Siri, you know her
not?
someone?
Here. 172. And then 172. Here.
Okay.
So, Mr. Lopez, do you know if Exhibit 172 has ever been available on LuLaRoe's website?
Not that I'm aware of. I think this could be from the back office, but not. I can't determine if this was on the main website.
He's asking just whether you know as you sit here today.
No.
And why might it be from the back office?
Because the retailer has access to all the content in their back office.
You can put those aside. I want to go back to something we actually started with today when we were talking about the various deposition topics in that first list I showed you. And you were talking about your definition of swapping and how, in your mind, swapping means wholesale transfers between IFRs. How might from a system standpoint, is there anything that prevents an IFR from selling LuLaRoe product to another IFR?
Can you refine your question? Just trying to understand. I'm trying to understand the question you're asking.
So let's take Bless, for example. Is there anything in Bless that would prevent an IFR from selling clothes to another IFR?
No, I mean, if the inventory is available for that IFR to sell as a transfer, there's nothing preventing it if it's made available to that retailer.
And that transaction would count as a sale, as a retail sale, right?
Objection form.
It would be captured as a wholesale sale.
What do you mean by wholesale sale? I thought only LuLaRoe sells at wholesale.
Yes, from retailers can purchase from us at wholesale, but a wholesale transfer, we don't capture that as a retail sale.
Right, so that was what we just talked about for a wholesale transfer, but could an IFR also sell an item through, could an IFR treat another IFR as a retail customer and sell to them as a retail customer?
If the retailer wants to be, if the retailer purchases as a customer, then sales taxes are applied to the order.
He's asking, is it possible? Can a retailer buy from another retailer under the current point of sale?
As a customer?
Yeah.
As a customer, yes.
That would count as a retail sale.
That is correct.
And I'll object belatedly as an incomplete hypothetical.
Yeah, I mean, again, if it's a sale, it's a sale. But if sales taxes are applied, it's a sale.
Can an IFR sell using Bless an item for below wholesale?
What do you mean be below wholesale?
I think it means below the wholesale price.
Oh,
Is that
you
what you're
mean the
talking
wholesale
about?
price? Oh, so they discount it.
Discount it, they're taking a loss. Is that possible?
Yes.
And that, go ahead.
The retailer can adjust their pricing, not adjust the pricing of the wholesale, but they can discount the item.
Can they discount it all the way to zero and have it sold through Bless at a price of zero?
Yes, at 100% discount.
And that would still be recorded as a retail sale?
It will be recorded as a retail sale as 100% discount, but then the use tax is applied to the retailer. The retailer has to pay those taxes at the end of the year.
If an IFR purchases a wholesale product and decides to keep it, how is that treated in Bless?
It'll be a discounted item at 100%. They won't, let me correctly answer this question. If the IFR chooses to keep a garment, they'll have to record that that's a kept item. So it may not be recorded in Bless because it's not a sale. But if they give it away, they will process it as 100% discount.
Could they also record or process something they keep for themselves for personal use as a 100% discounted item?
Yes, if they record it that way in the point of sale, yes.
And that would still count as a retail sale?
At 100% discount, correct.
Is there any other way, other than keeping it and then not doing anything in Bless and recording it as a 100% discounted item? Are there any other options for someone who keeps an item for their own use?
I mean, again, the retailer, it's their inventory, so they can choose to sell it, discount it, keep it. I mean, they own the merchandise.
Do you know what the term supply store refers to?
Yes.
And what is it?
It's a promotion supply store that marketing has for kind of, basically it's branded items like water bottles, tchotchkes, It's a storefront for IFRs to purchase any branded items to promote their business.
Okay. One moment. So we talked a little bit earlier about Retail Success. That was the company that developed Bless, right?
Correct.
And how did that partnership come about?
Objection as to form.
Let me ask some more specific questions. If you would turn to tab J, Bates numbers are LLR-WA 0009038. It's probably in the middle of your stack.
Yeah.
And I'm marking this as exhibit 291. So this is an email that you are not on. It's from May of 2017. It involves Retail Success and some folks at LuLaRoe attaching a spreadsheet from Retail Success. My question for you is, have you ever seen this spreadsheet? Or sorry, not spreadsheet, this presentation, this PowerPoint?
This presentation seems like it was presented in one of our leadership events.
And when you say leadership events, do you mean leadership, the leaders of LuLaRoe, or I know there's also leadership conventions for IFRs?
It's the leadership event for IFRs that attended the event.
I see. So this was, what makes you think this was presented to IFRs?
Because I think that just by looking at this presentation, it's targeted to the retailer.
Okay, that clears up the timeline a little bit. So this is not pitch material that was provided to LuLaRoe in helping them come to the conclusion on who to go with for implementing a new point of sale system.
Correct. We were already using the platform. I think this was more of just an introduction of who Retail Success was and how they're supporting our retailers with the platform.
Right. So this was circulated in May of 2017, but Bless had been in use since early in 2017, right?
Correct.
Did we mark this as exhibit, Joe?
Yes, it's 291. Okay, let's move on to what will be marked as 292. So if you could turn to tab P, the Bates numbers are LLR-WA 000-88135.
You said P?
E.
E? E? Oh, E as in Eric?
P as in Paul?
Yeah, P as in
See,
Paul.
that's what I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like looking for G and I'm looking for E and I can't find it.
Okay, I can't report that. I'm just gonna put that you're off the record.
So I've also displayed it so we can all make sure we're looking at the same document. So take a look at this. I want to talk about page 3, Bates number 88137, where technology and the legal compliance show up in the meeting notes.
Yeah, give me just a minute. I may assert a belated objection on attorney-client on this. I need to look at it.
Yes,
Are you on the exec committee?
yes,
If you turn to the first page, if you look at the participants, are those participants members of the exec committee?
no, not all.
Who are the ones that aren't?
Jordan's not an executive. Austin's not an executive. Bob, I'd say, oh, that's Bob Lowe. Lauren, who was the marketing sales, he just retired. So the only ones that are not, I don't see I think Michael, Jordan, and Austin are not, and Kenny are not executive. They're in the meetings, but I don't know if they're considered executive or not. They just have their own title.
Did they all regularly attend these meetings?
If they're available.
And so when you say they have their own title, are you saying that their title doesn't have the word executive in it?
Correct. I mean, my title is the technology officer. It doesn't say executive, it just says CTO.
I want to go back to a topic we talked about earlier about the LMS Litness subscription. And I want to get a little bit more clarity on what this subscription offered to LuLaRoe.
I'm sorry, but if you marked it, I missed it. Did you mark this last document as an exhibit?
Yes, 292. So the question is, what did LTM Litness subscription offer to LuLaRoe?
In a nutshell, is a learning management system. That's basically what it was. There was a functional tool. The intent was to provide video content with a training material that retailers can log in and go through a curriculum and then get an acknowledgement that that retailer did indeed watch the video or went through the steps. Not knowing the functionality, the details, my understanding was we weren't getting many users or retailers logging into the platform. Also, the video content wasn't updated. And I mean, it was an expense that I decided to end the agreement mainly for cost savings. because it was not being utilized.
And so it sounds like the subscription allowed or provided data regarding how IFRs were or were not using this tool.
Assuming that it was capturing that data. I never logged into it. My understanding was when we subscribed to the platform, it was for limited users to be able to log in. But again, the content had to be made available for retailers to log in and watch the video. As to the data that was being captured, I don't know.
Well, so, but you did say that you based your decision on the data showing that not many people were using it. Was that what I heard?
You did hear that correctly. I didn't own the data. It was just more of, I was asking the stakeholders that were using the platform, you know, can you share with me what, you know, how it's being used? Are we using it? And it basically, the acknowledgement wasn't, it was the responses were that they couldn't determine if they were watching it or not. So I just said, then I'd rather save the money.
Who were the stakeholders that you discussed this with?
It was with the marketing team.
And so the marketing team said, we can't tell if they're using it?
Correct.
Did they say anything else about what information they could glean from LMS?
No.
Who in marketing did you talk with about this?
Good question. I mean, it's possibly it was a verbal communication with Kenny and Justin and possibly Lauren. I can't recall.
Give me just 1 minute. Let me confer with my colleague. I'm pretty close to wrapping up.
Okay. Get some fresh air and wake up good. All right.
Going off the record, the time is approximately 5:50 p.m. Back on the record, the time is approximately 6:07 p.m.
Welcome back, Mr. Lopez. I only have a few wrap-up questions. In connection with this case, have you or anyone on your team been asked to help with collecting documents from LuLaRoe?
No.
That's all on our end. Bill, witness is yours if you have any questions. If not, thank you so much for your time, Mr. Lopez.
Let me look real quick. And then you said something earlier in response to some questioning about the map, that the map's not a map. If you plug in, if you go in now and plug in your own, say, zip code, what will come up on the screen?
Just retailer information of that zip code within the radius.
How are those retailers that come up, how are they generated?
It's random. It's whoever's opted in will be displayed on the map to be visible.
But it will be displayed randomly?
Yes. There's no favoritism.
No preference.
Exactly.
Okay, that's all I had.
So that spawned a few questions on my end. To follow up on going to the map question, I've heard of this feature that randomizes who shows up. Is that called like a roulette feature? Is that the term that's been used at LuLaRoe?
I never heard the term roulette. I mean, again, it just displays the retailers within that residence. There's no order to show the closest retailer within that radius is the first one to come up.
And was that randomization a feature of this retailer map since your team first revised it in 2017?
I don't believe so. I think at the early stages, it was just the way it was developed was to display the retailer. I don't think there was a request to say that it had to be this retailer comes first. I think it was just whatever the code was able to distribute, it would display the name of the retailer.
So when was this randomization feature implemented?
I don't think it's a feature. I think it's just within the code.
I see. So it's just by plan or just happenstance, it's random, and it's been that way since the map was updated in 2017.
That's my understanding. Again, I wasn't the developer of the map. So my understanding of the way the map works is the consumer, when they enter the address, they'll get a list of retailers within that radius to connect them to a retailer to shop.
Okay. Those are all the follow-up questions I had.
I don't have any.
This concludes the 30B6 deposition of Guillermo Lopez. The time is approximately 6:15 p.m. Going off the record.
Thank you.